her every door and how the windows let the sun in. Copy out the key and tell her this is for we coming.
Hi, I'm Evangelist Lisa, and I'm back with Life Changes. I'm hoping you guys enjoy this podcast, and I'm hoping you enjoy watching it and getting an understanding. I pray that you get an understanding and that it is able to apply in your life as it has been applicable in our lives. You can catch me on YouTube at Life Changes 16, or you can catch me on Facebook at Christina Rudolph. And I'm just, hoping, and also at the Spotify podcasting. So you can go on there and you can find me under Christina Rudolph. And so when you do, be sure that you hit that like and make sure you subscribe. It pretty much tells Facebook and all the social medias that I am doing a good job and that you enjoy the content that I bring to you guys. So with that being said, I want to introduce to you an awesome person in my life. This is my husband, Deacon Rod. And say hi, honey.
Hello there.
No, he didn't. As you see, he's kind of silly. And so I want to kind of talk to you about part one of my podcast is of two sides of marriage. And I gave you my side of marriage. Now I kind of want to give you my husband's side of marriage and a man's perspective. You've got the lady's perspective. I told you about how we met. Just to recap for you, when we met, we were 16 years old. We've been together ever since. We did have a breakup, got back together, and now we've been together. We've married 30 years. We've been together 37 years, which is a long time. A long time. That says it all. Throw the mic down. Boom, we're done. That's funny. But anyways, I want him to kind of give a perspective. I'm going to ask him a couple of questions, and then I just want him to kind of talk and then let you guys know how he feels on the men's side. So you guys heard my version on the first part of this podcast. Now you'll hear his side. Okay, so we met when we were 16 years old. We have 4 adult children, 18 grandchildren, and here we are today. Spent our wedding anniversary with our 5 children. I apologize. We have 5 children. I don't know why I keep saying 4, but we do have 5 children, and I love them all. They're awesome. And one of our sons, he doesn't have any children, so he's been doing really well. The rest of them have been supplying the earth, like the Bible said, be fruitful and multiply, populating the earth. They have been really populating the earth. It's hilarious. But yeah, so one of them has actually a brain. No, just kidding. Just playing. But anyways, it's just awesome. I can't wait till he has his first child. We're going to spoil that one too. We spoil our grandchildren rotten. Our children tell us that our grandchildren get away with everything, that they are not nowhere near, we're not nowhere near strict to our grandchildren as we were to them. And I'm like, that's because they're not our kids. He said, if you didn't hear them, we can give them back. We can give them back. Let's make sure we're going to put the mic close enough. I want you guys to hear all of his little ad-libs, because this is what I deal with for the last 37 years. He say little stuff. Will we be somewhere eating or something? He'll say some little stuff, and don't nobody else hear it, but they'll hear me bust out laughing and be looking at me like, what's she laughing about? I am. Because he's talking stuff, because he always saying something under his breath. So I'm hoping the mic picks it all up, because if it doesn't, I'm going to make sure, and you guys all know that I like to use captions on my podcast, so they will be said and put up there. He said, uh-oh. All right, so we're going to go on ahead, and I'm going to ask him a question. So what has life been like when we were growing up as teenagers? Because like I explained in my portion, that we grew up together, basically. 16 years old, growing up together, all the way to our age now. I won't say because a lady's age is her secret. So
Like growing
make sure you're getting the mic.
Like growing up, we did a lot of partying. I can tell you that.
We did a lot of partying.
Went to a lot of house parties back then.
Yes.
It wasn't really as bad as it is now, but it was somewhat, but not as bad. Hanging out with our friends, meeting our friends at the party, doing a little drinking and everything else that we used to do, what kids do now.
Except for the kids nowadays are worse.
Yeah, they doing little extra things, so I'm not even gonna mention that.
It's too much because half of it we don't even know about.
Stuff they taking now, I never heard of.
Never.
Wasn't around when we were growing up, so.
It wasn't. Nowadays, I mean, like, man, we did a lot of experimenting with a lot of different things, and yeah, I would not suggest doing it, period. And then as you get older, you try to stop your children from doing those kind of things, but instead, they don't want to listen. They get grown. Oh, don't let them get 18, because then they tell you how grown they really are. Every chance they get, they tell us they're grown. And you know what we do? We let them be grown, don't we, honey?
Well, yeah.
Especially when it comes to bill time. Don't come be grown when you ask me to fill inside my pocket for something that folds or jingles.
When it's bill time, you gotta fill my pockets. That's the way it goes when you're grown.
That's the way it goes when you're grown. And that's it, It's just crazy, I'm just, just growing up with our children. We grew up with our children, like I said, being 16 years old. We truly grew up with our kids. What would you say that?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. We were 18.
Yeah.
It was kind of a rough beginning growing up, having a kid at 18.
Yeah.
But one thing I can say, we did have our own place. We moved out.
We always had our own place. Every now and then we had to fall back, but it wasn't very often. Maybe once, maybe twice. I think once, really.
Once, staying with my mom, and then we waited on a place to be ready for them, for us. So really, we've been on our own ever since then.
Yeah, for a long time we've been our own, struggling, paying bills. Been plenty of nights where we had to, scrap up some good old meals, and those are some of the best meals. And if you was to ask my children, they were to be the interview today, they said those was the best meals they ever had. And they didn't realize they were scrap meals. They thought it was some delicatessen.
It was the bomb.
It was the bomb.com. It was good. It was good. It was good. I tell you, my husband is a fantastic cook. His mom, is Southern. And that woman could cook. God rest her soul. She could cook. And when I say cook, whoa. I mean, when we got together, boy, all I could do was eat. And it was so good, especially when I was pregnant. After I got pregnant with my first son, oh my gosh. I was just this big and I was full of good old Southern food. She was one of the best cooks. I'm like, yes. He got it, honestly. He cooks. He's a great cook. His sons and them guys, they try to cook too, and his daughters. So, yeah, I would love me some food, and they can get down on some really good. He's actually a really great cook. So after we left our teenage years and we got more into our adult years, and after we started having our children, let's fast forward to having all four of our children, and we're in our mid-20s at this time. And we were doing a lot of partying. And what would you say about that?
Well, actually, we was throwing birthday parties and
a lot. They would turn out to be more of a adult party. It was a kid's birthday party.
Oh yeah, barbecues and mainly a lot of the family members would be there anyway. It was mainly family, but it turns into a big
shindig.
Yeah, a big party for us all, and
His mom used to call it the dewdrop in. She used to tell us, "Oh, well, she's like, I ain't about to stay at the dewdrop in. We just came to bring the kids something." Because she was real southern. She had her accent. She was just funny, hilarious. We did a lot of partying. We done a lot of things.
a lot of partying.
And would you say that during all those years and during the years of us going on more and more, talking further into our marriage, um, what was it like being married to me? And be honest. You can be honest. Do I need to hear this?
Ooh. You
I'm
know,
a sweetie, though.
yeah, she was
People love
sweet at
me.
times. Alcohol
Was it-
changes a lot of people.
It did me.
And also me. So wasn't really bad, but we it's like we were actually arguing in front of everyone,
Oh, it was
which
terrible.
everyone didn't need to know your business.
And we were putting it out there.
And we would put it out there.
I mean, stuff that happened 2 years before or a week before that or something that happened earlier that day that nobody even knew about. And they'd be like, "Girl, I didn't know that happened." And I'd be like, "Yes, this one here, And
kind
then,
of put your business out there, which is not a good thing.
yeah.
So you have to learn from that. You got to think about your spouse, and when you wake up in the morning and everybody, man, they're calling you and letting you know, oh, you said this and you said that, man, what's wrong with you guys? You guys are crazy.
Yeah. It's embarrassing, really.
Yeah,
To be
once you
honest.
think about it and you wake up, you're like, I said that, and you regret a lot of things that you said. So
Yeah, it's like the last podcast I said, you can't unsay things. You can't unsay them. It's too late. Once they're out and you said them, you can't unsay it. You can't let it not be heard because it's already been out. And now guess what? You have to deal with the consequences and the repercussions of it. And sometimes it's not good. And sometimes it can destroy a marriage and it can destroy a relationship, and being a two-sided marriage, people don't understand. Yes, you are joined in as one, definitely. But to be a two-sided marriage, it's two people. It's two relationships. It's two mindsets. It's two thought processes. It's two things that come out of our mouth. I can't think for him. He can't think for me. So what ends up happening is we say what's on our mind sometimes, especially when you've been drinking. It's like, boom, there it is, and you cannot take it back. You can only regret it. You can say, I'm sorry, but by that time the damage is done. It's too late. You know what I'm saying? And it leaves a scar because some of those things that you say, you are actually like, you begin to feel like, if I've said some things to him that were like some horrible things, and I can admit that because I was a lousy drunk and I was a lousy wife when I was drunk. You know what I mean? And, don't get me wrong, every time I drank, I didn't get drunk. But on those times that I did act out, I said some horrible, mean things to him. And sometimes he would just be sitting there. He didn't say anything. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really know what he thought. And with him not responding to some of it sometimes he responded like that. And it was on and cracking, But there was times when he didn't respond, and I didn't know how to address that. I didn't know how to look at him and say, let me swallow my pride and say I'm sorry. But then there was days because I'm so strong-headed and bullheaded. I'm really can't say truly I know myself well. I'm a very strong-headed person, and I'm very opinionated, and I'm also very strong-willed, and I tend to speak my mind directly. And when I said it, and that's just what I meant, and that's not, I had to learn that this is a relationship. It's like the relationship I have with God. Would I be telling God things like that? Would I act like that with God if I was talking to God? Or if Jesus was sitting right here in the room, would I say those things to him? I think not. I think not. So there's a lot of things, and he reacts to things different from me. He's a very quiet and more of a, what would you say? I can't think of the right word to say. He's very quiet, reserved, I guess you would say. He doesn't really just come out like, he doesn't do that.
No,
That would be me.
I just sit back and listen. I figure if you throw gasoline in the fire, it keep burning. So me myself, I just listen. Well, I won't say anything.
Yes.
I might go out and take a walk or something.
Yeah.
Because the more you speak about what's going on me, I'm not too much of a person that likes to argue. I don't really like to argue too much.
Yeah, he really does.
Even when I was drinking, I used to fight a lot. But it was like, I took it, I don't care what you say, as long as you don't put your hands on me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a different story.
Yeah.
I stay calm and cool. I don't care what you say.
Mm-hmm.
But if you touch me, then we have some issues.
See, me with my big, bad Barney, bad butt self, well, I would try to catch a quick slap, pow! And then I try to run and get away. Oh, he'd be so mad. And we've had our fighting days. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just be transparent. We had our fighting days. 37 years of being with the same person, you go through a lot of things. A lot of things. You go from all that straight love to fights to back in love to name calling, sometimes fighting, sometimes not fighting. Is just a whole bunch of different things until we both decided in our minds and in our hearts that we were going to allow Jesus to take over and take over our relationship and take over our, our marriage. It was just like a change, a transformation. You know what I mean? We're not there yet. We ain't arrived. We ain't perfect. But I can say if we do have a disagreement, it pretty much stays there, a disagreement. A lot of people don't know that we had even had I always call it disagreement because we really don't argue. Really, every now and then we do. He don't argue. Don't let him try to fool you. He does. But we don't really do a lot of, we don't really do a lot of, yelling and screaming and all that. And so we just pretty much got to the point where, like I said in the video earlier, when you're doing this, can't nobody hear nothing. Can't nothing be said, because you're too busy talking at each other, not talking with each other, not trying to solve
talking at
a
each
problem.
other, not really listening.
That's it.
Because whatever you're saying is like, think out of my head, because I know you're talking stuff.
Yeah.
So I try to block it out.
It don't work. It don't work because I know how to push them buttons, baby. I know how to push them buttons. But I had to stop doing that. I had to stop pushing buttons, and I had to stop being nasty-mouthed and all that. And I have to learn to respect my husband. So calling my husband all kind of names or saying that he's this or that, you know what I'm saying? Or he would say things to me, and it was just... And after the arguing is all done, and after everything is gone on, sometimes you sit there and you go to work, or you're by yourself, you're in the shower or the tub, you begin to backplay what was said. And sometimes you begin to cry, or you begin to whelp up, or you get more angry, or, things like that. But see, that's why it's better, that I thank God and I thank the Lord that we are now, we're God-based. We base things on God. We've always had God in our life. Always have. We just didn't live by what he wanted us to do. We just didn't do God's will. We did what I wanted to do, what he wanted to do, and we had a mess in the middle. So, a big mess. And when those things kind of happen, then what happens? Your children pick up on what you did.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. So, if you are arguing, you don't want to bring everybody into your situation. You keep that between you and your spouse. Because whatever you say to someone else, it's always gonna get twisted up. So
yeah,
and then it comes back to you, and you like,
I didn't say
I
that.
didn't say that.
I didn't say it like that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So they throw a little extra off in there. A little extra salt and pepper.
Yeah, and now you got everybody in the community all up in your argument.
Once the community in there turns into a gumbo mix. So you don't know what I said. I said
a little bit of extra, a little bit of everything, a little bit of everything.
So
yes,
you keep it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to unless you go and talk to, if it's that bad, maybe you need to go and talk to your pastor.
He does. He talks to our pastor, Pastor Loggins, all the time. We don't really argue, but like that. But when there are things that might be bothering him or something that could be said, he'll go and he'll talk to Pastor, and he'll Pastor will give him his perspective, which I do. And I always talk about my pastor on here all the time. He's a great guy. He will give you what God says. He's not going to give you, he'll give you a little of him, a little of his opinion. But he keeps it Bible-based, and then he keeps it based from the heart. You know what I mean? He's not only our pastor, but he's a really good friend we've had for a long, long time. He's seen our children grow up. So, it's just awesome, to be able to work together as a team. So now we kind of double team them kids, when he comes to church.
When they need it.
When they need it all the time. What you talking about? Just, he's like trying to be, the one who's not saying nothing, but, I'm usually the bad guy because I'm more outspoken, so I'm the one that usually gets the road and be like, and you guys need to stop doing this, or, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. He'd be like, well, you need to talk to him about this. So the secret's out. It's not me, it's Dad. I'm usually the villain or the bad guy. Dun, dun, dun. But, I just, really wanted to come on here. I wanted my husband to come on here and share.
I try to be nice. I don't really want to be the villain. But if it's something I don't like, because if I don't like it, I'll let her know. It's better for her to talk to him than me, because if you say something smart, it's on.
It's on.
That's it.
And they just have to realize, because sometimes your kids get grown and that mouth gets grown too, and you got to let them know, hey, I have to tell my kids all the time, my husband is told, he's been there when I've told him, I was like, first off, I'm not your homegirl, I'm not your homeboy, I'm not your schoolyard friend, period. You will not talk to me in that way, you will not use that tone with me, and you will not be cussing and using all them words around me. You want to talk and talk like that, you go down there to the grease ball corner and go do it all up in there. Okay? You know what I'm saying?
The grease ball corner.
Where the Phil's Lauren is. So it's just really exciting that I have a man who stands on my side, stands with me arm in arm as, we go through this walk with Christ, and not only walk with Christ, but our walk in life, and it's been a long time. We've grown old together. We've got wrinkles together. We've got our bellies together, and we're maybe we need to pull it back.
Out. See how much younger I am?
We'll try. We'll try that this Sunday. We'll get some tape and pull it back, pull my hair over. But it's been great, and it's been an awesome thing, living my life with my husband, and just having somebody to support me, you know what I mean? And it was so funny because, we were stranded in the mall and in the airport, and we went to go out for our anniversary. We were stranded. It was a big fiasco. It was horrible. But we had a great time, but I was telling my husband, I said, well, honey, maybe you need to get on the next plane if they have extra seats. I'll stay here. I can stay here. And he refused to leave me, you know what I'm saying? Which, I'm so thankful for that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been afraid. I would have been safe, I'd been right there. But he was like, no, I don't think so. We came together, we go together, period. So, and that was awesome because I just wanted to make sure that he was able to get home to get to work. But we were so stranded, it was absolutely ridiculous. But we did make it home this morning at 7 a.m. or 7 something because we had to get our bags and stuff. And we slept all morning long. So,
Into the afternoon.
all the way into the afternoon. That is not me. Everybody here, everybody knows me, knows I'm an early bird. I'm usually up and out the door, going to work or whatever. And, I'm just excited. But I'm really just excited to have my husband here on my podcast. I would like you guys to join back in because we're going to actually talk about his change in life and how God has changed him from who he used to be to who he is now. He used to be gangster. No, just kidding. He wasn't no gangster, but he acted like one. And he was just like, man, I just thank God, that the Lord has brought him through a lot of things. He has survived a lot of things, what I'm saying? And I'm glad for that, So now he's changed from that, and now he's Deacon Rod. Now, we're not perfect. Are we perfect? No, we're not perfect.
No, still working on that.
We think we are sometimes, but we're not perfect. So we're striving to be there. We're striving to make it into heaven. We're striving to be that example for our children. We're striving to be that example for people in church.
That's right. Make it into heaven. I'm not trying to. There's no one perfect. Period. Only Jesus was the perfect man. Now, I'm not perfect, and can no one say that they are?
Only Jesus.
He's the only one. So
our Lord and Savior.
I learned about. You want to learn real quick about how to please women? Just don't say no. When they argue, you're right. You're right. Keep it. You're right. Okay.
That's right.
You're
That's
right. Okay,
right.
babe. You're right.
Mic drop.
I'm wrong.
Mic drop.
You're right.
Exactly. So I thank you guys for joining us this evening for our part 2 of Two Sides of Marriage. There's my side, there's your side, and we work together to be one in God. So I'm just excited about being able to get his next be able to get his story, his life story. He's told me a lot of things in his life, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that I don't know, but God does. He knows, and he's changed his life. And he's changing and being a witness for his friends, his family, and I thank God for that. So with that being said, I want you guys to come back, join us again for our next podcast. Please hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. Subscribe so you can get all the new episodes that we're going to be putting out, and all the new episodes with the different testimonials that we're having. And I just really thank you for joining us tonight. And I pray for you, and I love you like God loves you. In Jesus' name. See you the next time.
Amen.
Bye.
Take her higher. Train her feet for running. Show her every door and how the windows let the sun in. Copy out the key and tell her this is for becoming.